Hello guys and gals, welcome to a new tutorial. This is a recent request. Somebody's asked me how we can take the assets from Mixamo and bring those into UE4. So most of what we're going to be doing isn't even going to be in the engine, it's going to be on the Mixamo website. So let's get that opened up. So you just head to mixamo.com and you're going to be greeted with this lovely page here. Although rather than browse characters and browse animations, you're going to have login buttons. It is free, you just need to have an Adobe account. Just make one and log in. You can even use your Facebook if you want to. You don't need something special for this. Once you've got that all signed up, you have access to the whole library. So what we're going to do first is we're going to press the Browse Characters button, or you can click the Characters tab up at the top left. And then we're going to be greeted by a window with just a default character in it, and then all these different guys that you can see down the side here. Now these are the things that we can use. Here's the second page. You can see there. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to pick one of these and then we're going to try and take this into the engine. So for this I'm thinking, yep, I don't want to save the character. Thinking this guy, because he's looking pretty nifty there. Okay, so moving around inside the editor on Mixamo is quite simple. If you hold your middle mouse button and then drag, you can pan your camera. Left click and drag is for rotation. Right click and drag is for zooming. You've also got these lovely little things down here, which will do the same thing, but they're less friendly than just using your mouse to get around quickly. So once we have our character in place, what do we need to do? Well, we need to take this to the engine, right? So we're going to hit the download button. In fact, do we want to do that yet? Yeah, we will. So we'll download him in T-pose. That will automatically download for us. As I see, these are free. You can see down here in the left-hand corner, it's downloaded. Now we're going to head into the engine. We'll just open up our downloads folder. We've got him there. I'll cut that and place this into the folder that I want him in for the engine. If we head back into Unreal, this should allow us to bring him in. Yep, we want the skeletal mesh, we want to import the mesh. Yep, we'll import all. Now this should bring along everything, including the textures for the material that we're going to need. Oh no, there's no smoothing group information. We don't mind. Import here. Now this is it bringing in the textures, I believe, so we're going to say yes to that. Yes, come on. You can see it's already made our little materials for us, and we have these textures here, and we've got a skeleton, and we also have the mesh here. We can open this guy up. You see he's lovely, lovely mesh. Yay, isn't he beautiful? And here we can see it's built some physics for him where he looks a little bit like he's made of marshmallow. So what we'll do first is, just to make sure that we can assign him to our character, is select our third person character, open to edit the blueprint, maximize this up, head to the viewport, click on mesh, and then in here we're going to find him. Ooh, which one's he called? I've got the regular pack in here as well. Which one did we download? It was this guy, wasn't it? Yes. So there he is. Awesome, beautiful. Let's just make sure he's lined up correctly. You want to make sure that he's facing the way the arrow is pointing. Cool, we'll compile that. Now, he's got no animations at the moment, but we're going to fix that. If we go back into the main editor here and press play, we can now slide our guy around. Woo! Spooky. So, what are we going to need here? We're going to need a few different animations to get this guy going. What we're going to focus on here is I'm just going to bring in a couple of animations to see you guys how this works. And then obviously if you want to edit this further, you can do, but I'm just going to show you the basics to get you started. Head back over into Mixamo, and then in the top left we've got the animations tab. Click on this, and this is now going to load up this entire library of animations. You can see some of these are a little bit more energetic than the others. What we have is a search bar. The search bar is going to be your saving grace. See here we've got different genres depending on which kind of animations you're going to require. But I like to use the search button just to find specific things. So one of the things that a character's going to need, he's going to need an idle, right? He's going to need something to do while standing still. So, which of these should we use? I always like this one. Ready for action, right? So what you do is you click the animation that you want, and it will automatically load this into the viewport here, and you can see that it's working. And you can do things such as change the overdrive, which will make the animation a bit more energetic, or slow it right down, or more relaxed. And you can click the reset button if you don't like what you've changed. We can also do the character arm space, so if we were to line him up here like this, we can pull his arms all the way out, or we can pull them all the way in, which is a little bit weird. I like them where they are though. You've also got the trim. Now trimming will allow you to take frames away. Don't really want to touch this if you're not going to fine tune this in your engine. You see we're going to end up see that you've got like a little skip there where it doesn't loop properly. Once you're happy with your animation, we're going to press download. Now we want to take it out FBX, we want it with the skin, frames per second 30, yeah, we don't want to bother with any keyframe reduction. We're going to hit download, and the same thing as before, this is now going to prepare this for us, and it's going to download it directly to our machine. So here he goes. Let's open up the downloads folder. You can see we've got the idle there. We're going to cut this, head into the folder we've created ready, pop him in, go to the engine, and now we're going to import this slightly different. We're going to press the import button, but you see it's asking for skeletal mesh and mesh, import mesh again. We don't want to do this. We're going to untick import mesh, but keep the skeleton assigned to the skeleton we're using. In this case, I'm using the Vancard_T_Chunyong_skeleton, which is fine. And animation length, exported time, and import. Not import all, just import, because we don't want to take in all this stuff like the textures and things that we did last time. Leave that alone. Stop asking. Right, now we've got this idle animation. You can see he's here, and he's an engine. He's doing sexy things. But our character is still not doing anything. You can see if we open this up, he's not doing a thing. However, if we click the animation up in the top right, we now have a list here. It's just got idle in it because that's all we have right now, but you can see that it's there and it's available. Now we can assign just an individual animation to this, so if we open up the blueprint for the third person character, head to the viewport and select our mesh, then under animation mode we can change this to animation asset, and we can change this to idle, and he will now idle. We can press compile and he'll just play his idle animation, but obviously he's still just going to slide around. It's a bit creepy. So next thing that we're going to need are some walk and run animations. So we're going to search for walk in Mixamo. We're going to find a walk that we like. There we go. It's quite sassy. I quite like that. One thing that you're going to notice here is he's physically moving in space. So see here, he's actually crossing lines on the grid. This is bad because it means that at the end of his animation, he's going to blink back. So he's actually moving back units. If we were to take this into engine as it is right now, then our character's going to move forward. His animation will also move forward, but then his animation will move back. So he'll end up blinking backwards while running forwards, if that makes sense. So what we need to do is just tick this little tick box that says in place. And now he'll stay in the place that he's walking. Yay! See, he's not moving anywhere in space. Not all the animations on Mixamo have this available, so it's kind of like a, some things you're not going to be able to have. You might have to take those into a 3D software and edit them yourself, which is a bit of a pain, but most of them are good for this. Now I'm not going to change any of the overdrive or the arm space. Maybe take his arms out just a little bit because it's clipping into the belt. There we go. Sassy. Now we're going to press download and let that do its thing. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to find a run animation while that's still downloading. Now, as you can see, there's quite a lot to choose from. I kind of want to just give him like a silly run. What's this? Ooh, spooky. He's looking over there. Now let's That's very feminine run. Let's just give him the full-on sprint. So in place. Okay. Now you can up the speed on certain animations as well. You can see here we now have a speed tab as well as the overdrive. We've also got style. Let's change the style up a little bit. Ooh, so his style is going to allow him to lean back or lean forward. Oh, that's perfect. Anyway, I'm going to reset that. We don't want that. We don't want that. We'll just have him default. So we'll download that. Press download. And then we're going to wait for that to do its thing. Here we go, it's downloading again. Now, I don't believe that there's a limit on how many assets you can take from Mixamo. You can just keep taking for now, which is fine. Let's open up our downloads folder and our engine folder, take both the walk and run animations and pop those into the engine. Open the engine back up. You see here it's picked them up. We're going to import, turn off mesh, leave skeletal on, press import, and here again, turn off mesh, skeletons still on, and just import. Should bring those in when it finishes loading them. There we are. So now we have a walk and run animation. Go away. Now we've got a walk and run animation. How are we going to use those? Well, we need to actually create a animation blueprint for this guy. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make an animation blend space. Because we're using a third-person character, the blueprint itself is going to make the character rotate. So you can see here, if we press play, when we press left, he rotates left. When we press right, he rotates right, and so on and so forth. We don't actually have to animate that because it's already built in. So we just need to be able to animate in a singular direction. So what we need is an animation blend space 1D. Now we need to select our skeleton. Is that the one I'm using? Yes, little V. You see, there is a Mixamo pack on the marketplace that's free. I have that downloaded for a different project, but that's already got some stuff built in, so it skips out of steps, and I wanted to make sure you guys could see this. Let's call this Tup BS. Open this up. Now, it's recognized our mesh and our skeleton. You can see here it's recognized the 3 animations that I've brought in for it. If we select one, you can see it working. Hooray! So let's go back to the blend space. Over here, under the axis settings, under horizontal axis. Now, if you were to make a 2D, yes, a two-dimensional, you would have a horizontal and a vertical axis. We don't need this. We just need the horizontal. We're going to change the name here to speed. You can see that's now updated here on this little graph down the bottom. Our minimum value is going to be 0 because he's going to be moving at 0 speed if he's standing still. And I believe the default maximum speed for the third person character is 375. So we're going to turn that to 375. We're going to leave this at, 4 divisions. Leave the interpolation for now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start messing with the actual blend space. So along the bottom here, we have the values for speed. If he's at 0, we obviously want him idle. So select the idle, click and drag it out. And now we'll put a little white dot over at 0. And now he's standing still, being all lovely. If he's walking, he's going to be going about, I don't know, that much speed. And if he's running, he's going to be at full speed. If we hold shift and move around on the graph, you can see we've got this little green dot that moves. And that allows us to see the actual blend. So you can see we can go from idle to walking. And blend it into a slight jog into his full sprint, depending on how fast he's going. We will save that. I'm quite happy with that as it is. We'll head back into third person, and we're going to change animation mode back to animation blueprint. Now we don't have the blueprint yet. Compile this, minimize it down. We'll right click, animation blueprint. Now in the bottom here, you want the bottom. We'll select our skeleton. You don't want the top list, you want the bottom list. And then we're going to call this to anim BP. Once you've got your blueprint saved, open this up, and you're going to be greeted with final animation pose result with a note on it. The note's just saying that it's got nothing plugged into there. Now what we can do here is we can actually just plug in any animation that we want to plug into there, but we don't want to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to stop clicking and dragging, right click, and find a state machine. And we're going to plug this happy little guy into the result. Now, a state machine is basically what it says. It's kind of like a little factory that's going to check what kind of state the character's currently in, and based on the state that the character's in, it's going to play a different animation for us. Before we can do that, however, we need to know how the animation blueprint is going to get details on the character itself. So we're going to go into the event graph here, and we've got the event blueprint update animation. We're going to right click, what is it we want? We want to try get pawn owner. That's the one. I always forget what that's called. Right, so we're going to try get pawn owner, and then we are going to check to see if it's valid. Basically, this is just going to make sure that the player is actually currently controlling the character, otherwise it's not going to bother checking for stuff, because it doesn't need to. We're only going to be using this sort of thing on a player character. So we need some variables here. Well, the only one that we're actually going to need here is speed, because that's what we're going through. So we're going to search for speed. Well, we're not going to search for speed. We're going to call it speed and change the variable type to a float. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set speed. And speed is going to be based on the pawn itself. So what we'll do is we will get velocity of our character, and then from velocity we need vector length. And this is going to determine how quick our guy's currently moving. We'll compile this. We've got a bit of a problem here because the state machine doesn't have anything in it. See if we've got a little warning. If we double click this guy, we've got an entry here. Drag out from this, add a new state. We're going to call this idle or run. Open this up, and now what we need is our speed. So get speed, and then we're going to plug this into our blend space. So tut. Here it's recognized the blend space because it's all linked together via the skeleton. Blend space player tut_bs. Plug this into the result here, and now it's going to plug our speed into this and then give us a result based on what the speed is. So if we press compile, you can see now we've got our guy here standing all lovely. Hello, he's actually doing his idle. And if we were to press play, nothing's going to happen because we need to open that back up. So open up our third person blueprint, head to the viewport, mesh, and under the anim class, we're going to change this to our blueprint. So I believe it was tut_anim BP. Now you can see he's nice and idle. If we press play, we now get his animations. Yay! Now right now he can't jump, and you can see he's snapping pretty bad. So what we're going to do, just open up the blend space, and in the left on the axis settings, interpolation time, we're going to put about 0.2, and what this is going to do is it's just going to make sure that it just takes a slightly longer amount of time to blend. See there, he's taking a little bit longer to stop and start, and we can overemphasize that. We can say 1, and you'll be able to see the way that that will affect the animations. Whoop. See there, it takes it much longer to start and stop. I'm just showing you that so that you can see that working, you know, and so that you can see the way that that would work. So there we go. Takes him a little bit longer to get going. Good. Now, one thing obviously that a lot of you are going to want to be able to do with this is to have him jump. So what we're going to do is inside of the anim blueprint here, we will give it an extra variable, and we'll call this in air question mark. What we'll do here is we'll set this before we set speed, and then from the player pawn we will get movement component, and then from movement component we will check is falling and plug this into in air. So if he's in the air, well, if he's falling, then he will obviously be in the air, so that will set in air to true. Compile this, and then back inside of our state machine, from idle/run, we can add a new state. We can call this jump. This is our requirement. We will open this up, get in air, and plug that in to can enter transition. So if he's in the air, it can enter the transition. Head back to the state machine, and then inside jump is where you would place your jump animation. Now, I don't have one ready, and finding a nice jump animation to blend together is sometimes a little bit awkward. You don't have to add the jump into the blend space, you literally just add it in here, you just plug it directly in. We can select an animation just by searching, so if I search for idle, you can see we've got play idle. and that will be the animation, and it will just play it. So you can play jump animation, and then you would just head back into the state machine, drag another transition, and then at this point is in air, get it, and then just check if it's not. Oops. Not. And then just plug that in. And that's how you can bring things over from Mixamo. Hopefully some of you guys will find that useful. Some of you will be able to use this. It is a really great resource to have at your disposal, and it's very, very handy for quick prototyping. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time.